Wilson Morales from Black Film and TV. Hello, folks. How are you?
How you doing?
How you doing?
So obviously, Nicole, you're coming on working with these two guys who've known each other for 3 years. I mean, for years, obviously. When you come on, what is it that they wanted you to add in that they didn't put in already? Everybody assumes you just added in the female perspective. Is there a lot more?
They made me bring them coffee.
Don't even joke.
I'm kidding. They had already started writing, and they brought me in to write the female character, and I can see why they did it, and I was honored and flattered that they did ask me. And I don't know, that's how I never felt left out. Of course they had a lot of stories and inside jokes, but I felt incredibly welcome and really at ease and really supported. I think we all respect each other a great deal and respect each other's talents. And so it was really cool.
And for you guys, you guys have known each other obviously for years. This is one of the few collaborations that we get to see on the big screen. Can you talk about not only just putting the story together and bringing on Nicole, but just acting in it and then choosing which role, who would play who? Ben, did you ever want to play Matt's role and vice versa? But let's talk about the writing of the story and then getting Ridley involved, or vice versa. Matt?
You talk. Oh, okay, I'll talk. We talked for a while, we were going to be the two knights that fight to the death. And we kind of ended up feeling like that might end up being distracting. And there was this other great part, of Count Pierre that I think it's one of the best things Ben's ever done. It's really awesome. And but yeah, I mean, I think for us, like, the experience of writing was very different this time. I think because we've been making movies for 25 years, we kind of were better with structure. We were much more efficient writing. And then the experience of writing with Nicole, and we talked a lot about what the film was and what we wanted it to be, but there were still times where she'd turn in a scene that we hadn't anticipated, and we'd get to read something. It was just really thrilling, and this, like, because we'd never written like that before with another person. And so when she would surprise us, it was so exciting. And I just scrawl like amazing on the, in the margins of what she was writing. And it was just that part was really exhilarating.
Mm-hmm. Then, you're playing a juicy role. It seems like you were just having fun with this role. But, this movie is also like the Me Too moment in the medieval era. There's a lot that can go into it in terms of what's going on and how certain scenes are played out. How did you want to tackle that? First, let's talk about the role you're playing and how much fun you had, and then talk about the tackling of the Me Too part of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just think there's an old like cliche about how every villain is the hero of their own story, which just kind of speaks to this idea that we were trying to explore, of how you see things really from your own perspective, unless you really do the work to try to think about how someone else's life might be different from yours, and their experiences might be different from yours, and their acculturation might be different from yours. And so the need to recognize and value and respect that. And also one of the differences between the first time we wrote a script and now is the recognition that, like, of the responsibility to tell people's story in an authentic way, and that if you don't really have an understanding of that, you are wise to work with somebody who does, and to have a person who has that added perspective. We could have written a story, but I can tell you it would not have been nearly as resonant, as powerful, as meaningful, and what I imagine is as relatable to women, many of whom see the movie and kind of go, Nicole, like, I saw that, I recognize that, and that's important, and people are just now starting to go, well, hold on, recognizing that there's a connection between who's telling the story and the story that's being told. And I think that has to do with marginalized groups historically seeing their story represented by people who haven't lived their lives and feeling profound frustration at how it's misrepresented and misunderstood. At least that's what I've been learning. And also that I wanted, yes, there's like a certain amount of I guess it's not a fun story. The themes aren't fun or light, or I take them lightly, but I think that two things. One, you need it because the story has some very intense moments. You need to also have moments where the audience can breathe and relax a little bit, and that sort of tension and release aspect of storytelling. And also, I don't think, because this character is a villain, looked at from the macro, because he represents privilege and power and the inequity of power, and the sort of epitomizes the way in which the concentration of power in any one person, or in any one gender or race of person is, or sexual orientation of person, is itself exclusionary of other people who don't share that life, because for one thing, that person may not be able to identify or understand them appropriately. And yet, like, these people you're not interested in watching a movie just about a bad person, like, because nobody thinks of themselves as bad. What's interesting is how you can believe that what you're doing is the right thing or the compassionate thing, and it can be so profoundly wrong.
You guys have said enough. Obviously, when you're working with Ridley, you know what you're going to get. And the three of you add a lot more layer to it. So there's a lot more. We didn't even get into the actors, but that's enough for now. Hopefully I'll talk to you down the road on your next projects.
Look forward to
Thanks
it.
so
Thank
much.
Thank you.
Take care.
You too.